We are now going to begin our panel discussion. I'm going to first introduce to you our acting governor, Honorable Anya Williams. She is a native of the Turks and Caicos Islands, holds an associate's degree in English, law, and accounting from the Barbados Community College, and both a bachelor's and master's degree in accounting from Florida International University in Miami, Florida. She joined the Turks and Caicos Islands government in November 2003 and has held several prominent positions throughout her tenure in government, including TCIG Budget Director from November 2003 to March 2012, Permanent Secretary of Finance from April to October 2012, and on October 15, 2012, she was appointed as the Turks and Caicos Islands' second Deputy Governor. She is the second female to be appointed to this post in the Turks and Caicos and is the youngest serving Deputy Governor throughout the Caribbean region. She has worked hard over the last decade to ensure fiscal stability in the Turks and Caicos Islands and has now turned her attention to the civil service and to ensuring excellence in public service by adequately resourcing all departments throughout government and by equipping managers and staff with the right skills, knowledge, and resources to carry out their mandate, which is to better serve the needs of the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I hope Fortis didn't feed you too well over the break that you now come in here and fall asleep. But I was asked to present today on foundations for sustained social and economic developments in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And I wanted to start first by asking some of us, what do we know about the Turks and Caicos? I think we all know that the islands are a British overseas territory made up of 40 islands and keys, 8 of which are inhabited. The total land mass is 193 square miles. We're blessed with many natural assets, most notably our beaches, our beauty, and our ideal location next to many key markets. Being located only 575 miles southeast of the U.S., the majority of our visitors and investors are from the U.S., and Canada being our second closest market. Tourism is the major industry in the Turks and Caicos, and we have in excess of 1 million visitors that visit our shores each year. The foundations for sustainable development in the Turks and Caicos Islands. The Turks and Caicos Islands has built a foundation for sustained social and economic development in the islands based on 5 key pillars or strengths. The first is by putting in place a good governance structure. The second, making the best use of our proximity and access to outside markets. The third, the establishment of renowned telecommunication, utility, and other infrastructure. The fourth, the development of a vibrant economy. And the fifth, the establishment of strong policies and development objectives. Pillar number 1, our governance structure. The Turks and Caicos Islands could be considered a well-governed territory. As a British overseas territory, we're governed by the Queen's appointed governor, who has executive authority and presides over the cabinet, the Premier, who has the local government, which is responsible for policy development, and it consists of up to 6 other ministers. The House of Assembly, which is responsible for enacting legislation and consists of 19 members, 15 elected and 4 appointed. The legal system, which is based on English common law, and the judicial branch, which is headed by the Chief Justice and Chief Magistrate. The Turks and Caicos Islands, I would say, has some of the most sophisticated and model legislation and regulatory framework in the Caribbean, and boasts on the principles of accountability and transparency. Pillar number 2, our proximity and access to outside markets. The islands are located, as I said earlier, 575 miles southeast of the U.S. and are only a few hours flying distance from Canada, Europe, and many other key jurisdictions. There are various access routes to these islands, with international airlift being provided to the tourism capital Providenciales by several major carriers, including American Airlines, Delta, United, JetBlue, and many others. There's also international ports in both Grand Turk and Providenciales, which allows goods to be shipped into the islands directly. This allows, as I would say, easy access to the islands. Pillar number 3, infrastructure. The islands have well-developed infrastructure, with 2 international airports, 2 international ports, 2 internationally branded hospitals on both Grand Turk and Providenciales, and domestic airports, ports, and medical facilities on the outer islands. There's also a well-defined roadways and a ferry and other transportation systems in place. Telecommunication structure. I'll see my friend Drax start laughing now. The official language of the Turks and Caicos is English, which makes it quite easy to communicate with all major investors and visitors. And we have a state-of-the-art domestic and international communication system operated by 3 major telecommunication providers, Lime, Digicel, and Islandcom, and a totally digital network, having recently launched the 4G network in the islands. Now this is the time when the other side will start to laugh. Utilities. The Turks and Caicos Islands, through FortisTCI, operates a fully integrated utility system that provides for the generation and distribution of energy throughout the islands. Fortis is one of the leading and most reliable utility providers in the region, and it's the company's strategic objective to be the best utility provider in the Caribbean by the end of 2013. Vibrant economy. The U.S. dollar is the official currency of the Turks and Caicos Islands. This makes it easy for us to conduct business in the islands and does not subject the islands to currency exchange risks. Several well-established financial institutions are located here, including Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean, and the Royal Bank of Canada. There are currently no direct taxes on either income or capital for individuals or companies, and there are no exchange controls. Indirect taxation largely comprises of customs duties and fees, stamp duty, and other charges. Contrary to many other territories, the Turks and Caicos Islands economy continues to experience positive growth. Contrary to many other territories, the Turks and Caicos Islands government is currently running a surplus budget and will continue to do so for the next 5 years. Policy development. Several policies have been designed to ensure the sustainable growth and development of these islands, including the recently enacted Investment Policy of 2012. The overall aim of the new investment policy is to provide a framework for incentivizing future domestic and foreign investment, as well as a covering umbrella that will guide the future specific investment incentives. Specific objectives of the investment policy. The specific objectives are to attract long-term and sustainable investments that creates local jobs and other local value added to the economy of the islands, that proactively draws appropriate and sustainable investment that stimulates the economy of the lesser developed family islands, that proactively draws investment to the country that supports economic activity outside of tourism. The policy is designed to attract investment to the TCI that creates new industries and otherwise meets the broader development priorities of the country. It's designed to operate a regulated system of investment incentives that is clear, transparent, and relatively easy to operate, including monitoring for compliance. The policy is designed to continue to reduce the cost of doing business and to improve the regulatory and other environment for all investments in the TCI. Our development priorities. As described in the development strategy, the development priorities for the Turks and Caicos are considered to be stimulating investment in the lesser developed family islands of North, Middle, South Caicos, Grand Turk, and Sole Key, diversifying growth by adding new industries to the economy, stimulating competition, increasing employment opportunities for Turks and Caicos Islanders, contributing to public revenues in future years so the Turks and Caicos government may deliver more and better education, health, and other public services, including easing the plight of the poorest and protecting the national environment. Development priorities are therefore the continued stability and good governance, growth with economic diversification, providing a broader public revenue base, correcting the country's regional disparities, creating jobs, reducing poverty, and protecting the national environment. The strategy and broad priorities will therefore be addressed through the following 3 clusters of priority commitments over the next 5 years. The first, a performing public sector that maintains stability and confidence. That's going to be done through enabling a stable macroeconomy, sound public financial management, a performing public service, support for the poorest and most vulnerable, protecting the national environment, strengthening good governance, and utilizing global knowledge. The second, private sector-led economic growth for opportunity, diversification, balanced development, and job creation. Facilitate the expansion of local small and medium-scale private enterprises, diversifying the economy including agriculture, aquaculture, fisheries, financial services development, and medical tourism, as well as expanding tourism products and markets. Bringing geographic balance to the economy by prioritizing economic activity in the Family Islands and creating opportunities for employment. The third, enhancing the country's resources to match the growing demands of society and the economy. A healthy, educated people, efficient and effective social services, an efficient and effective land market, physical and financial capital markets aligned to the demands of society and economy. A snapshot of the country's national data, and it's very small to see, but I'll try to go through it. The surface of the islands is 193 square miles. Our geographic region is the Northern Caribbean. Our population total is 31,458 from the 2011-12 census. Our membership of regional and international organizations are the UK Overseas Territories Association, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, associate member of CARICOM, and also the Caribbean Development Bank. Our population growth rate average for the past 5 years was 0.3%, but a 58% growth in population was recorded between 2001 to 2012 alone. The life expectancy at birth in the Turks and Caicos is 78 plus years. Our primary, secondary enrollment is over 99%. Our unemployment rate is very low, considered to be 8.3%. Our poverty rate from the 2001 poverty report was only 20%. Our HIV incidence per 1,000 population is 1%. Our natural resources and exports are spiny lobster, conch, and fish, which we should start to grow. Inflation rate for GDP is approximately 4.2%. Our GDP per capita for 2011 was $21,000. Our GDP growth for the past 6 years was 1%, but for the year 2011 alone was 4%. Our value added in services, 94.12%. Import of goods and services, of percentage of GDP, 50%. Number of tourists, 655,000 cruise passengers and 355,000 land-based arrivals. Our external debt percentage of GDP, 26.8%. And our government revenue budget balance of GDP, 3.6%. What do these numbers mean? These numbers mean that things are going good in Turks and Caicos. The conclusion I think that we can all find is that the Turks and Caicos Islands is blessed with many natural and other resources, the greatest of which I would say is the resolve of our people to develop and bring prosperity to the islands. This being done through the development of legislation, policies, and other mechanisms will provide opportunities which will in time lead to growth and sustainability in these islands. Thank you.